Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. I am Sangeeta studying in Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, Bangalore from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Today we are going to discuss about ANOVA. The contents are Introduction to ANOVA, One-Way ANOVA, Two-Way ANOVA and the conclusion. First we are going with Introduction to ANOVA. Before going to the introduction, what is the full form of ANOVA? ANOVA stands for Analysis of Variance. An introduction to ANOVA in statistical analysis. It is used to compare the means of more than two groups to determine if there is a significant difference between them. ANOVA compares the variation between group means to the variation within the groups. If the variation between group means is significantly larger than the variation within groups, it suggests a significant difference between the means of the groups. ANOVA is a statistical technique used to check if the means of two or more groups are significantly different from each other. ANOVA checks the impact of one or more factors by comparing the means of different samples. One-way ANOVA, definition and theory. One-way ANOVA compares the means of three or more independent groups to determine if there is a significant difference between them. Theory. It tests the null hypothesis that all population means are equal against the alternative hypothesis that at least one mean differs. One-way ANOVA, assumptions and conditions. What are the assumptions of one-way ANOVA? It is independence of observations, normality of residuals, homogeneity of variance. Conditions of one-way ANOVA. Random sampling and continuous dependent variable. There should be a continuous dependent variable in one-way ANOVA. One-way ANOVA is an hypothesis technique which is used to find the means of different groups' variations. One-way ANOVA hypothesis testing. Null hypothesis. Null hypothesis is denoted by H naught. Null hypothesis assumes that the means of the multiple groups are equal. Alternative hypothesis, it stands for HA, suggests that at least one group mean is different from the others. The means of all the multiple groups are equal, then it is known as null hypothesis. If at least one group mean is different from the other group, then it is known as alternative hypothesis in one-way ANOVA. One-way ANOVA examples and interpretation. First example is data collection. Collect and organize data from three or more groups. Calculate ANOVA. Perform the ANOVA test to analyze the difference between group means. Interpret result. Examine p-values and confidence intervals to draw conclusions about group differences. Two-way ANOVA. This is the second type of ANOVA. The definition of two-way ANOVA is two-way ANOVA examines the influence of two different categorical independent variables on one continuous dependent variable. Theory. It assesses whether there is an interaction effect between the two factors on the dependent variable. Two-way ANOVA, assumptions and conditions. Assumptions of two-way ANOVAs are, it is independence of observations, homogeneity of variances, normally distributed residuals. Conditions of two-way ANOVA, random assignment to groups, continuous dependent variable. Two-way ANOVA hypothesis testing. Here also there are two types of hypothesis, null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis suggests that there is no interaction between the two dependent variables on the dependent variable. Alternative hypothesis indicates the presence of an interaction effect between the two factors on the dependent variable. Two-way ANOVA example and interpretation. Data collections. Gather data from groups defined by two distinct categorical variables. Conduct analysis. Perform two-way ANOVA to assess the impact of the two factors on the dependent variable. Data conclusion. Draw conclusions. Interpret results to understand the combined effects of the two independent variables on the dependent variable. Conclusion and summary of the ANOVA. First one is actionable insights. ANOVA helps to derive actionable insights from the comparative data analysis. Research validity. Validity in scrutinizing multiple group means and factor interactions. Data-driven decisions. Facilitating informed decisions based on statistical significance. Thank you.